Legal affairs journalist Meghann Cuniff. Meghann, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox. We know that you've been following this trial very closely, posting all of those updates to your X account. First of all, what was your reaction to seeing that Kid Cudi, the rapper, so many people love him all around the nation and the world, took the stand today in this trial?
I thought it was expected given the role that the firebombing of his car, the Molotov cocktailing of his car plays in this indictment. It is mentioned there, and then we did hear him mentioned in Cassie's testimony. But of course, Cassie didn't get in to the any actual testimony about what happened with the car or whether the car actually burned. So it made sense that he would be coming up as a witness who would testify to, was his car actually burned? Did it catch fire? Which is what he did.
Absolutely. And we also heard from Kid Cudi today. I want to play out his response here. Just get your reaction as well. Let's listen.
Hey guys, so I just want to say, man, I've been seeing all the love and support, and I just want to say thank you so much, man. People have been hitting me up the past week, just checking in, and even today, and it really means a lot to me, man. You guys are the best. I love y'all. This is a stressful situation. I'm glad it's behind me, and yeah, I love y'all, man. Big love.
All right, Meghann, let's talk about this a little bit more, because even in the rap community, let's talk about the culture as far as getting on the stand. They could even see that as snitching. So it's interesting to me that Kid Cudi, of course, he was subpoenaed there. He could have taken the opportunity to take the fifth. But can you sort of speak to that and sort of what we've seen in the past with some of these high-profile trials?
I mean, I'm not sure he could take the fifth because I'm not sure he's really facing any criminal exposure over the fact that his car was set on fire. But he seemed to have a real maturity there in that he understands that this whole snitching thing is for 11-year-olds or for people who act like 11-year-olds. I mean, he's obviously willing to testify in court and put his name behind what happened. So, I mean, I guess, yes, that is snitching under the term, but he seems to understand that he's an adult. We live in an adult world, and this all isn't just, internet fun and games. I mean, he seemed to own up to his testimony and have a mature approach to the thing. So we'll see how big of a role this plays in the case. It's one overt act. The arson, the torching of his car is part of the racketeering conspiracy, and there's so many other overt acts that are part of this. It's going to be interesting to see what exactly the verdict form looks like and what the jurors are going to be asked. If they're usually how it goes is these overt acts are listed and they're asked to say whether one is proven or not proven or true or not true. So it'll be interesting to see what exactly that looks like and what kind of role his testimony ends up playing.
And that's a question I had for you, because he on the stand, when they were going back and forth through that cross-examination, some of the lawyers there for Diddy asked him the question, how did you feel about this situation? He said he got played by both Diddy and Cassie. Do you think that that could possibly harm the prosecution here? It's just interesting to hear his perspective on this entire thing.
Yeah, I was going through the trial transcript here, and Steele was really getting into the nature of his relationship with Cassie and emphasizing that, yeah, he was surprised to learn that Cassie was still seeing Diddy. And he said, yes, the question was, did she play you? And he said, yes. But I think his overall point is the whole point of this is to try to discredit Cassie and make it sound like her relationship with Combs is being exaggerated in her testimony. And they actually called a sidebar, and the benefit of me getting the transcript is I can read what happened in the sidebar, and when you're in the courtroom you don't get that. And the judge was asking Steele, like, what is the point of this? And that's what he was saying. He was wanting to say that, supposedly Cassie was in such a non-consensual relationship with Combs, but then at the same time she's in a consensual relationship with Cudi, and he's trying to make her out to be, kind of the conniving one that you can't trust. But I think that, remember, the whole point of that is he wants the jurors to somehow discredit all of her testimony, which I'm not sure if the fact that, Cudi answered yes, she played us both. I'm not sure how far that will go in doing that, but it was a win. It was a small win, I guess, for the defense.
It was certainly interesting, but you were talking about some of those photos, putting up this tweet we have from TUZ. Meghann, I saw you posted these as well. It's crazy to see some of these photos because we've heard about this alleged Molotov cocktail blowing up his car, but now the government is exhibiting that in the courtroom. This comes as Cudi also testified, calling him a supervillain, almost like a Marvel supervillain. Interesting rhetoric, though, to use, Meghann.
Yes, yes. He was talking about this meeting that he arranged with Combs after he discovered his car burned. He said their managers arranged this meeting at the Soho House in Los Angeles, and he was taken into this room where he saw Diddy sitting there. He said one wall was entire glass mirror, and Diddy was in front of it, and he said he just looked like this Marvel supervillain. So, not being in the courtroom, I mean, it's hard to know how exactly that played out in front of the jury, but just given everything that we've been hearing, remember Diddy's team has really made this out to be this is a domestic violence case, a toxic relationship, it's his own private sex life. But I think what the jurors are seeing, everyone has a private sex life. I think this is going a little bit beyond maybe anything that they're used to, the firebombing of a car, that kind of thing. So
it's been interesting to watch as well, and I want to put this up on the screen. These are some of those charges. You were just mentioning this, Meghann, because sometimes I feel like, especially when the conversation is happening on social media, we want to continue to direct people to what is actually being done there in the courtroom. Diddy is facing these charges. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. Count 2, sex trafficking. Count 3, transportation to engage in prostitution. Count 4, sex trafficking, as well as count 5, transportation to engage in prostitution. 2 of those counts obviously repeated as well. Meghann, you've been watching the trial closely. How do you feel that the prosecution is doing in their job to prove some of these charges, as well as the defense, where they sort of succeeded and pushing back from this?
I'm still going through all the transcripts, and we still have so many weeks of testimony left that we've still only heard from one victim, Cassie. There should be other alleged victims who testify. So I think they're putting together a case through, especially the testimony of the business associates, the employees who've testified, the witnessing of the abuse. We'll see, especially as it goes on, whether they're really able to establish a pattern here. And then I'm interested to see the jury instructions too, because I think the whole case in the end is not crafted to like the play-by-play of Twitter or anything like that. It's one of those cases that it's so long that a play-by-play is doesn't really give justice to the big picture. And we're still not at the point where we have the big picture, but we've got a few weeks to go here.
Certainly do. And also today in court, we heard from a celebrity makeup artist who did Cassie Ventura's makeup over the years. She talked about Meghann having to cover up bruises of Cassie. That was pretty brutal to kind of watch there. It makes you wonder, if we had cameras in the courtroom, how that truly would have come across. But it was definitely some powerful testimony.
Yes, we've been hearing a lot about that, about the people who around Combs and who knew about this relationship with Cassie, who saw it up close and saw him abuse her and either didn't do anything or just straight up helped cover it up or facilitate it. And I think the makeup artist was in a different place where she didn't actually witness any assault. She just saw the aftermath and the effects of it. But it really sounds like this wasn't so much of a secret when it was going on.
Certainly not. And of course, we know that while the trial has been going on, they've called 16 witnesses so far in this case. It's expected to resume on Tuesday after the Memorial Day weekend. Again, it'll be interesting to see who else we hear from. Meghann, is there anything in particular we should be paying attention to as well?
I think everyone's looking for the next alleged victims who's going to testify. That's obviously really how they're going to be able to build a pattern and show that this wasn't just domestic violence. They've kind of cast this as Cassie being a willing participant in a lot of this. But if you have another woman who comes up and has a similar story and also says, no, I wasn't okay with this, that's kind of when they start to establish a pattern there. So I think that's going to be a really important next witness who I imagine we could see next week.
Absolutely. And of course, we'll continue to stay on top of it here on Live Now from Fox. You can always follow Meghann as well on X. She posts all of those updates there as well. Meghann, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Wanted to give you that update here on Live Now from Fox. Let's slide away for a 2-minute break. Stay right here with us.